Greetings, Patrick here, 8 Questions with, and welcome to the show. Um, yeah, we're gonna tonight we'll be seeing the return of one of our favorite guests, actress Greta Volkova. She is a very good actress, and she's actually co-hosted a few times on the House of Horrors with our good friend Steven, and she's a great co-host actually. And she also loves cats. Well, of course, that makes her a perfect guest for us, right? Um, and she does a lot of films for Mark Polonia, so she is known as a Polonia pal. I wonder, I've always wondered, did anybody ever get like bummed out by that? Because I really hope they don't, because I think it's a term of affection. It's we really like the actors that do these films, and I think Polonia Pals is I'm sure there are acting troops that have their names like the Brat Pack. Every time you mention the Brat Pack, there was always or the Rat Pack. There was that always showcase the cast of actors that always appeared in each other's movies. So it's not unheard of. But I think Polonia Pals is a pretty it's said with respect. Most importantly, in case people think that we're poking fun, we are not. Said with respect and affection. And yeah, and so we're going to be talking with Greta about her latest film, Four Nights in Fear Forest, which I watched and reviewed. I watched Sauron 2 today. That was an interesting viewing experience. It was a not Mark Polonia movie this time. It was actually his son Anthony who directed it, and so that was entertaining. And there was a couple of really fun things we can get to talk about when Greta gets here. And she's also been pretty busy since last time she's been here, so we have some catching up to do. And see how the career is going, and what is she like, what movies has she seen that she's really been that she really likes. I always like to do that. I always like that's a question I like to ask more and more is with guests is some of their favorites. A lot of those questions are their hey Jennifer, hey caveman. Yes, please hit the like button. Yes, we need that like button. That will be very, very helpful. Um, yeah, I was just I lost my train of thought. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna actually mention yesterday. I really enjoyed yesterday's show too that we did with John Fallon, a film producer, director, screenwriter. We talked about his film Malicious yesterday, and of course the Rio Bravo series. We even talked about an outside movie that we both enjoyed, No Tears in Hell. Some other well-known actors and how movies are made. Um, yeah, that was fun last night. I have to admit, man, we're talking about, we don't get excited when we meet when we meet celebrities. It's like it's just an old hat. Well, I didn't tell this to John, but I was fanboying yesterday. I didn't think I'd get somebody like that. Director of operations for Joe Blow. I didn't think I would ever get something like that here on my show. The man must be insanely busy, like he said. He's got like 12 to 13 different channels that he has to overrun and monitor their content and their writers' deadlines. Um, Meeting with press people. I mean, his schedule is formidable, and the times, the demands on his times are formidable as well. And he also is a filmmaker. So not only is he doing the website and all the channels and whatnot, but he also takes time off to do his own thing and and do it right. So hats off to John for just being an all around just you know mega mega talent. That's for sure. Uh, all right, what's going on with us today? Well, like I said, Greta's going to be here. We are working on September as far as guests go. It's been a little bit tough, I have to admit. I don't know if I've because it's me, because I'm not well. Great. Yes, I'm still battling my poison ivy, so still battling it too. Yes, it's still there. I don't know if you guys can see it on the camera or not, but yeah, now it's creeping up on my hand. It's just like this is like crazy. Yes, I do have calamine lotion. I got calamine lotions, but it's gonna take a day or two before it takes a hold of it and starts beating it back. Hey Anthony, how are you? King Matthew in the house. What's going on, King Matthew? Glad you're here, sir. Doing okay outside the poison ivy. Outside the poison ivy. But we do got a couple of new dates for September. We'll get a couple of things that we're going to do. I will let you guys know what we're doing. On September 4th, basically a week from today, we'll have actress Mel Heflin will be here for the first time. Super excited to have Mel come in. She is a very well respected actress. She is a screen queen. She elevates all the projects that she's in. She's a model. She's a beautiful girl. And so she'll be here for the first time on September 4th. September 9th, we will see our friend Michael Cassie will be back. And this time we will be talking about No Tears in Hell. That's a brand new movie that came out. The review's out. I reviewed it. The movie's out. You can watch it on various platforms. And when I make the banner up for that tonight, I'll put all the banners where you can. I'll put all the places where you can see the movie, as well as our review of it. So we'll be talking with Michael Cassie about No Tears in Hell on the 9th. On the 13th, we have a watch party. We're doing a watch party, and the movie we'll be watching and discussing will be The Hole, featuring Haley Bennett. Shocker. So yeah, we're gonna come back and watch another Haley Bennett movie. I was joined by Gabriel Westwood, and we watched She Is Love. This time we're gonna be watching The Hole, which really looks really cool. Actually, that looks pretty intense. So I'm looking forward to that. Hey, Atro, what's going on, sir? Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Man, I started to see you guys come in more regularly. This is really cool. I'm digging this. Hi, Cheryl. How are you? Out and about representing Canada. Cheryl and Laverne. Um, you have to come down. If you come down into the States, Cheryl, when you drive down to the States, you have to go to Wisconsin, right? You know that's going to have to be a must. Because that way you can say, look, there's Shirley and Laverne in Milwaukee. That has to be a must. Yes, everybody loves Canada. I love Canada. I think Canada is cool as hell. We went there. We went to my wife and I. We went to Toronto on vacation. We went to Toronto and then we went over to Niagara Falls, and it was really strange. Is that she got trapped in the bathroom. The door got jammed in the bathroom, and wow, they could not get that thing open at all. They really couldn't. And I'm like, I'm sitting here on the sidelines and I'm watching this, and watching them do it. And I'm going like, I said, I'm sorry, but she's not doing too well in there. So stand aside. And I broke that son of a bitch. I did. I kicked it in. I threw a little shoulder action into it too. Yeah, that was sort of it was not fun. Um, it's situations like that you find out that you're claustrophobic. Like our good buddy Hobbs, he's claustrophobic. He does not like elevators. Does not like elevators. Me, I don't like bridges. Um, yeah, me and bridges are not friends. Yeah. Yeah, I did. I took that. It was a nice hotel too, and I felt really bad about it. But they were really cool. They understood that. They were going like, well, we could call the fire department, and going like, yeah, we're here on like on the 7th, 8th floor, and she's not doing well right now. I don't want to wait, so I'm not going to wait. And so I just kicked it in. So yeah. And they didn't charge us. They didn't get upset at us at all. They, you think that they would have said, "Hey, that's our door. You could have waited," but they understood, and they were very kind to us. They gave us a free breakfast and lunch as well. I much rather would have had the day, the night off, had the night back. But um, all right, so we will be here on the 13th with The Hole featuring Haley Bennett. And then on the 23rd, Tuesday, the 23rd of September, we will be bringing in our first professional athlete. We're bringing in wrestler Mickey Knuckles will be here on the 23rd. The doorbell has rang. It means our guest is here. So thank you for coming in and help me welcome in Greta Volkova. Here we go. Welcome to the House of Horrors.
Thank you for having me. How are you?
Good. I thought I'd surprise you with that. Hey, here we go. House of Horrors is back online. Back in motion. But it was funny that it really was. I saw you. You and Steven were. You had film director Chadwick Whitmere as your guest, and you guys were back doing a House of Horrors. It was a cool thing to see. I was like, this is great.
Yeah, it was fun discussing trauma films.
I don't know what happened to me, Greta. I've commented on this before, but I don't know what happened to me when I was younger, when I was like, my late teens, early 20s. I loved trauma films. I really did. I loved them. I mean, they were just, they're Toxic Avenger, and a few others. I think Subspecies was one of them.
That one's Full Moon.
Is that Full Moon? Okay, see, I love Full Moon. I was gonna say Subspecies. That seems to be a little bit really good. Terra Firma. I think that was also trauma. That had Debbie Rochon in it. Before I really knew who Debbie Rochon was, but as I got older, um, I became less of a fan of trauma. I just wasn't really. I don't know. My fandom for it just sort of. I felt like I outgrew it. You know what I'm saying? I outgrew the films that they were doing. Their movies just weren't serious enough, or constructed well enough. I just, but, oh, everybody's saying hello. But I will say this: I'm amazed that they got that they did a mainstream Toxic Avenger. I never would have saw that coming at all.
Yeah, because I think I saw an article. It's sort of a cross between trauma and Hollywood because of the fact that they have, some star, they have stars in it like Kevin Bacon and Elijah Wood and, Peter Dinklage. It's like, wow, they got quite the cast in it.
Yeah, and I was thinking, like I know that it's gotten the vibe that it's going to be really gory. It's unrated, but at the same time, it also has mainstream actors. So yes, it might be unrated, but still, it's not going to be just an absolutely gore fest because studios have to back it. They want to make money. It's a good way to get publicity. It's unrated. It's going to be super gory. It's going to be like, wow, get people to get that FOMA thing going. I'm missing out on it. I got to go see it. I don't think it'll be as heavy-handed, as far as gore goes. I don't think it'll be as the first one was. But I do see it retaining one thing, and that it's humor. I have a feeling this is going to be more funny than people expect. And Peter Dinklage, super serious actor too. Think about Peter Dinklage. Think of all the movies that he's done. He's done that are serious. Game of Thrones, Cyrano. I mean, but I think I was probably the last person surprised that he did it because Peter Dinklage has done one of my very favorite films. I mean, I absolutely love it. Was Knights of Bad Assdom.
Okay, I have not seen that.
That you you got to watch that. That movie is bonkers. It's so much fun. It's definitely like in my top 50. It's definitely my top 50 of my favorite films I've ever seen, and he was just phenomenal in that film as well. And yeah, so I'm not, when I heard that he was going to do Toxic Avenger, I was like, okay, that'll be interesting. While everybody else was losing their shit, saying, "Wow, is he going to do that?" I'm like, that's
Mhm.
because you guys haven't seen him in Knights of Badassdom. Once you
Hmm.
see him there, you go like, "Oh, of course." Um, have you ever watched a movie with what movie have you ever watched where you seen someone go against type like that? Like it's the last person you expect to see doing a role like that.
Hmm. Mm, yeah, I'm not sure. What about you?
Well, hey Jerry, how are you? Um, and Cheryl said that she saw the trailer for I'm sure it's the trailer for Four Nights in Fear Forest. Um, yeah, we're gonna get to that for sure, definitely. That was a fun movie. I had a
Mm-hmm.
lot of fun with Four Nights, that's for sure. Uh, wow, what's the one actor I didn't expect to go against type? Man, every time
Well,
Kevin,
maybe
speaking of,
I do
go ahead.
remember when Heath Ledger was cast to play Joker. I remember people were very skeptical about that, but then he did an amazing job. It's like maybe it's one of those where people were like, oh, well, people think that they're not going to do a good job, and then like they're blown away by the performance.
Yeah, you're right, and because I'm thinking about that with Hugh Jackman when he got cast as Wolverine in the X-Men movies,
Mhm.
they people didn't think that was going to work either. Because he's like people don't realize that he's like 6'3",
Mhm.
and Wolverine's supposed to be like 5'9", so
Yeah.
people were commenting on that. But then again, look at Tom Cruise. And he went ahead and he played Jack Reacher, even though that he was 5'7", and Reacher in the books is 6'5", 250, and Tom Cruise is 5'7", 5'8", 165 pounds. So
Mhm.
it just has to suspend the belief to accept the character who it is. Um, so how have you been? I mean, you've been busy since you've been here last. And you still got some more films coming down the pipeline too. Are
Um,
you picking up? Are you picking up the pace here?
I actually haven't filmed since Four Nights, but I do have two projects coming up next month in October. But those are actually local projects and not Polonia movies. But I'm pretty psyched because there's not a lot of films in my area. My town is like more theater, but once in a while there are films. So I'm excited to be working on local film projects.
Um, yeah, and Four Nights in Fear 4. I have to admit, I really enjoyed the film. Um, I just felt the ending was like I wanted to go back to Mark and sit there and say, "Hey, can we fix it? Can we fix the ending?" Because the ending was a little bit. It was. I was really surprised um because I really liked the movie and I thought that I def because you play one of the final girls. Well, it should have been a final girl. And then it just like I was like, well, she's got to be a final girl you know because it's just because it's time. But do you like playing a role like a final girl? I mean, are you more into the action of it more than playing the damsel in distress?
I mean, yeah, I do. I do like playing the final girl. I haven't been a final girl in a really long time, but yeah, I mean, I've died many different ways, but I do like surviving a film.
Yeah, right. I like I said, I mean, I went ahead and I watched because Jeff Kirkendall, your co-star in Fear Force, we talked about that when he was on here, and so I went ahead and watched it, and man, I did a Polonia week. I'm not sure if you saw this or not, but I did a Polonia week. I reviewed five of Mark's films. We did that a couple of years ago, In fact,
Mm.
I think you were there for this. We did this a couple of years ago because we were trying to get Mark to come on Steven's show. So
Mm.
we were that was our way. And at the end of the we watched all the Polonia movies for that week, and then all you guys. I'm not sure if you. I'm sure you made it because he would have invited you. There was a big grouping of people, like he had like 5 or 6 people on at a time, and there he was. Steven was talking Polonia films. Uh, and I remember that. So I did this, on my own this year. Man, people were like, they were, because we have a lot of fun with Mark's movies, but I was
Mhm.
like telling people, like, man, there's 2 movies here that I watched that, honest to God, if you didn't put Mark's name on it, you wouldn't have known it was his. You would have been like, damn, this is good.
Mhm.
Once Upon a Time in Amityville and uh, Amityville Exorcism. Holy crow! Those are 2 of the best movies I think he's done. Um, and then here comes a Four Nights in Fear Forest, and another one that's just like holy, like this is really good. I
Mhm.
mean, really good. Um, what do you think? Do you think that have you noticed? Have you noticed? I know it's going to be a hard question for you to ask, but as an actor, I mean, you're in the best spot to see it. It does seem to be. It seems to be that it seems to be like the roles that he's casting, the actors he's has, like there he's. It's like there's acting going on.
Mm.
Um, I mean, there's really good acting going on. It's not just we're out here making a movie. It's like there's some earnestness behind it,
Mm.
and it's sort of refreshing to see, quite honestly.
Mm.
Because like I said, I was blown away with Once Upon a Time in Amityville. Well, that was good. That's my favorite Polonium movie by far. That movie was cool as hell.
Mm.
Uh, and Forrest is right there too. Seriously. Um, have you noticed more intensity, more like the movies are like he's starting to take all what he's learned
Mhm.
and actually sinking it into his new projects? I mean, do you see better scripts, uh, more? I don't want to say this wrong because I mean I know you guys are all professional and you guys all carry your weight, but it just seems like the movies I just mentioned have elevated. They're
Mhm.
like really good movies. I would tell
Mhm.
anybody to watch them.
Yeah, because I do believe Mark has been collaborating too with, other writers or even other studios, for funding or, to get other, get other talent in. 'Cause I know Four Nights in Fear Force, he actually had help with filming. He had, I think his name was Ian, but he was actually helping out with some of the cinematography with like setting up shots and, with lighting and providing feedback because usually Mark's pretty much a one-man guy, but he had assistants. So if, like you notice like some of the shots seem different, he or the lighting seemed different. He did have help on that. So yeah, I think sometimes he does collab with other people and just to get ideas and feedback and everything.
I was I really I'm not so that makes sense to me because I was just like I said like so taken back with how strong it was, and and Jeff was great in Amityville Exorcism. I mean that movie was sad. You never would have equated that word with a Mark movie,
Hmm.
but that movie had such a sad ending. And I'm just sitting there going like, man, this is a bummer, but it was a good thing. It was a good thing. It was like because you vested some emotion into the movie,
Hmm.
and a lot of times that doesn't happen. Um, but I was impressed. I was really impressed. Now, Sauron 2, I watched that today. Um, and you are the lead in that, aren't you not?
I am.
You are playing Katrina, and that was a cool story.
Mhm.
Have you ever read or ever saw the movie called Sound of Thunder? A Sound of
Um,
Thunder.
no, I don't even think I've heard of that.
So, oh, look who's here! It's your co-host Steven from the House of Horrors.
Oh, hey, Steven.
Um, so, A Sound of Thunder is about a group of people who are allowed to go back in the time. It's like a tourist thing, and
Hmm.
they go back in time, but they're told not to do anything. Don't touch anything. Don't do anything. Don't do And I think a butterfly landed on their walkway, and the
Hmm.
person there saw it and picked it up and put it back, in the forest. And that, of course, affected everything after that.
Hmm.
And I saw that. Yes, it was an interesting movie. It wasn't very well made. The movie really was not well made, but it was a very good story. Um, but I saw that in Sauron too. You guys go back, you and Sloth go back in the time. Um,
Hmm.
how did you get involved with Sauron too? Because the first Sauron was a I saw that one too, and it's so charming.
Hmm.
It really is. Have you seen the first one?
I think shortly before we filmed that, I did watch the first one to kind of have an understanding. So Sauron 2, I think, was more Anthony's project. I think Mark
Mhm.
was like, Anthony, why don't you just, do a sequel to it? And Mark helped out, of course, but I think this was
Right.
more Anthony's project.
Um, I love the fact that Mark continuously makes his Hitchcock appearance every movie. Um,
Yes. Mhm.
yes,
Well, he reprised his role because, with him being in the first one.
right, right. Now the first one was really charming. I didn't know what to expect from that. I thought it was, it was cool. It was cool in the sense that you always want to see a director's first work. Like what is the very first thing they ever did? And you always get curious about that, and a lot of times we never see that. We don't get the chance to really see that. But that was only Mark's seventh movie that he did. And you could definitely tell it was
Mhm.
micro budget. um but it was really charming. um so how did you get involved with the second one?
Um, yeah, I think Anthony had me in mind for that and sent me the script. And originally there were supposed to be three of us. We were supposed to be these cryptozoologists who were like going investigating, but I guess the one person had dropped out. So when I
Mm.
showed up, Anthony's like, "Oh, by the way, we're gonna have to like kind of revise lines on the spot." I'm like, "Okay." Like, I'm pretty good about memorizing my lines, but when it comes to like very quick, almost like improv, uh, that was a little bit of a challenge. So I was like, I mean, because most of the script was set for three of us doing an investigation, so that had to be scaled back to two of us.
Hmm. Yeah, you look rather heroic out there. And I love the wardrobe. You look
Oh,
badass.
yeah, like that for a hiking, like an expedition thing. Yeah, trying to.
Uh-huh. um now 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 when you watch a movie like that and you're in, and obviously because you can't see the effects being made or what have you, what's your reaction when you see when you watch a movie, like someone like Sauron or Fear Force? Do you ever go to the premieres, or do you ever, and watch your work, or do you wait till you're home and watch it?
So with Mark's movies, he doesn't have too many premieres. I mean, of his films, I think the only one I've gone to was Cocaine Werewolf. I mean, if he did more premieres of his stuff, I would definitely go to it. I think I think he had a premiere in Albany for The Stalking. Uh, that's
Right.
unfortunately I didn't I wasn't in that. but he doesn't often have premieres for that. I kind of wish he would, because that's a very fun watching Cocaine Werewolf on the screen, and like having, you know, a theater full of people. Like it was a very you know, lively, very interactive audience. Like they were clapping, they were cheering, and it just like that kind of energy, and like, you know, seeing the finished product on the big screen was just amazing. Like I would love if Mark had more premieres of his stuff, but as far as everything I've been involved in, I think Cocaine Row was the only premiere that I've been to.
And we're gonna get to that real shortly. Steven mentioned that Mark did do a premiere. He did it in Japan.
Oh, that's right, in Japan. Well, that's Japan. I've never. Yeah, that's halfway around the world.
Yeah, yeah. You
So I
can't
mean,
say
that
you
is
can't say
amazing. That is amazing, and I know, you know, over Japan they love their creature features, like the shark movies, and I think that's amazing. I just wish there was more local premieres.
I was bummed out. I was actually looking for a scene with you and James Careless.
And oh, and the Saurians too.
Yes.
Yeah, like I didn't even know they were going to be in that. You know, sometimes like with the other, you know, scenes, you know, they get filmed later. You know, I'll see, oh, you know, these other, you know, the other actors have a cameo or make an appearance.
Because I was sitting there going like, you know, I'm waiting for Greta to come in there and see him there, and then walk over there and yank that hat sideways. I told that to Jeff too. I said, you know, because we're talking about that, because that was like our funnest moment in Sharkenstein was with James wearing the hat sideways.
The
It just
sideways hat,
yeah,
yeah.
it's just, and so when I watched Sauron too, I saw that and going like, and then I pinged him. I went there and said, "Hey, you didn't tell me that you were scene partnering with James. How come you didn't yank the hat sideways?" uh,
I
but
don't
yeah,
remember. I mean, I was
it would have
never
been
on
nice to
set with
see.
him. I don't remember if our characters had an interaction, but like I never saw him on set. Sometimes, you know, they'll film it so that it makes it seem like we're right there, but we're not.
Well, you know, one thing I noticed too, that Marcus seems to be doing a lot more on location shooting. It's not just, in houses or buildings, or his house, primarily. He's actually going out on locations. Like he went to a western town, like a ghost town, for when he did a Once Upon a Time in Amityville. And I got to tell
Mhm.
you, it helped elevate the movie, and it did
Mhm.
for Forrest too. Where you
Yes,
guys were out
yes.
there. Yes, it really elevated the movie, and put you into it. Um, I know, for the budget, I know Mark's house is, primarily used for so many of his films. But I was big, I was pretty excited to see, locations used smartly. I know he's been out there. I know he's done it before. He's put people out there, but it just seems sort of it didn't do anything for the story. But now there's some thought behind it, and it really pops, and elevates the movie.
Mhm.
um so you got to play a scientist, a cryptologist, a cryptid. um did you have to did you have to do any research for the part of Katrina? Did you put some effort into creating a character, and are you a big fan of cryptology?
Um, I mean, you know, as far as cryptids, you know, I have my own personal one, but like for the character, I did watch the first Saurians, and you know, for the character, she's just very, you know, she's very hungry for the fame, and you know, she's just
Yeah.
we need to get the evidence. And you know, as the film progresses, you kind of see like she's very goal oriented and not caring about other things. It's like, I don't care about your safety, we need to get, you know, we need to get this proof. You know, you start to see how careless that she starts to become.
Right, right. I like Jeff's character, the hunter, when he comes back and says, "Yeah, we could be famous if we turn this egg in. We could be famous. We could even get $1,000." Maybe I was laughing my ass off with that. And we could get rich. We could get $1,000. I'm like, that's just like, I'm going, yeah. There's people out there that would actually see that. You know. Yeah. And you said you have your own personal beliefs about that. So you are a believer, I take it.
Um, I mean, I know there's still a lot of unsolved. I mean, like I'm not sure about the Bigfoot, but I mean, there's parts of the ocean that we've only explored, a small percentage of the ocean. There's still mysteries out there and
Right.
unexplained things. So, I mean, anything's possible. And
It's
like the
fun.
whole story with the Mothman, like I think that one's my favorite because that one's based on with the one bridge collapse and like with all the eyewitnesses and the things that happened afterwards with the men in black. Like I think I'd read a book that was about that that incident and the things that happened afterwards, and I don't know, I find it pretty fascinating.
I do too. We had a gentleman on last week who was a cryptologist, and we were talking about that. Like he had an encounter with what he thought was a Bigfoot. And he said that the Bigfoot that was bigger than he was, and he's 6'8". And he said it was bigger than he was. He just said, "Thank God it wasn't as fast as I was." So that but yeah, I it's funny. See, when you grow up and you hear about that and you go and you see the movies, about that, and you're thinking, yeah, it's just. I think the older that we get, I think the more open to possibilities that we become. Um, Myself. Um, so did you shoot Shawron in Pennsylvania or was that in New York?
That was all in Pennsylvania.
Okay, okay. Now the gentleman who you played with Sloth, I didn't know him at all. Who plays Sloth? Was he new to the? Was he a new member of the troupe? Member of the Mark's cat? Because I'm sure his talent pool is pretty big.
You're still talking about Saurians too?
Yeah.
Yeah. He has been in other Polonia movies.
Okay.
Actually have
'Cause
my
I was trying to think
IMDb
if I've
open.
ever seen him. I couldn't remember. Not. I don't think I've ever seen him before. So I mean, I knew everybody else in there. Of
Um,
course, Jeff and James and Ken.
this was my first time working with him, but he was in Sharkula. Like he was in a whole bunch of other Polonia, Mummy Shark, Cocaine Werewolf, Saurians 2, Sharkula, Real Monsters,
Man, I gotta go
Jurassic
back.
Shark 2, Aqua.
I gotta go back because I did watch Mummy Shark recently. That was that was fun. That
Mummy
was
Shark.
fun.
So he was Tehran. Was he playing the Egyptian? I think he was playing some
Oh, all
non-human
right,
character.
right, right, right. Yeah, you're right.
Okay,
Now,
so
now I
you
got it.
you, you have seen him. He has been in
Yeah.
things here and there.
Now, Four Nights in Fear Forest. That's an interesting film. How did you how did you end up getting there playing Serenity?
Mark just reached out to me and he's like, "Hey, read the scripts. Specifically, check out these two characters. Tell me which one you want." And I had a choice between Serenity and Jamie's character, and it's like I don't really want to play, a hardened criminal. So it's like I'm gonna go with Serenity. So he's like, "All right." So then he gave the other role to Jamie.
Yeah, that was fun. It was good seeing you playing a bad girl when you were
Mhm.
sitting at the bus stop and they gave you a cigarette
Cigarettes.
and a lighter. I'm going like, yeah, okay,
Oh my
that's
god, by
that make that
trying, like we're handcuffed, but like it wasn't really locked or anything, so like we couldn't
right,
move around too much, because otherwise the handcuffs would have just fell off me. So I was
right.
like trying to fumble with the cigarette and like trying not to move too much, otherwise I would have freed myself.
I was just funny to see you with a cigarette, because I know that's what the prop for them to establish that. Yeah, she's a little bit on the bad side, and but it was just like she's so, but it was everybody looked so cold. You guys were all so bundled, and you just look just you just look more cold than you did, come across as bad out. Um, but you guys there were some really good performances in that film. Jeff was really effective. Um, you know, what are some of your favorite performances, you know, with scene partners that you've done, you know, like that have stayed with you, like working with Jeff and Yolis and Fear Force, both of them, and Jamie too. Jamie, I was like, I was surprised to see how damn good she was at Skylar. I mean,
Mhm.
it was a very well acted film. I really enjoyed it, except for the last 5 minutes. Um, well, that's just me, that's personally on my, you know, it's a good 5 minutes, but you know, uh, but wow, the like again, the acting really got elevated. Um, I thought Tim Hatch did a great job
Mhm.
in that movie. I mean, he was, you know, there was some menace in his character. A lot of times when you see Tim, you're always thinking of the comic, you know, comic relief. It is great, but
Mhm.
both in Once Upon a Time in Amityville and in Fear Forest, for the first time, you sense menace in his performance. Like, you know, he's not a nice guy,
Mhm.
and he's not gonna let you think that he's just, you know, he's just out here for the yucks. His characters, both his characters were, you know, they were not so nice. They're not what we're not you were not we're not we don't we're used to seeing him in a lot more comic. I
Mhm.
liked this side. I liked his role in Forrest much better. I thought it was really good. I thought Mark got a really good job out of that. You guys did really, as a team, you guys did really good. Um,
Mhm. Thank you.
has that been your favorite? What has been your favorite project that you've done with Mark? The one that you would, you know, if somebody was new to your work and to Mark films, what was the one movie that you would actually showcase and sit there and say, this is, you know, look at this movie first.
Uh, I mean, top of my head, I did. We had a lot of fun with Cocaine Werewolf. Generally, like the larger like the cast, we usually have more fun and more camaraderie. You know, like it's just like with like the camping ones where we're all out in a group. I do kind of prefer, the movies where there is a larger group of us because, like, in the downtime, we kind of get to know each other. We get to like goof off. So yeah, usually the larger the group, there's like more connections are made. So but yeah, a lot of the past several movies that I made have been like that type of like camping movies where there's like a large group of us going to either going camping or we have a goal in mind, or we're well, like in Fear Force, we're in jail, so we're trying to we're in this program to try to knock down our sentences. So
Yeah, I liked it. I was, you know, it definitely was a part love letter to the Universal monsters,
mhm.
you know, the animatronics. Were you a big fan of were you a big fan of the Universal monsters growing up? I mean, did you like Wolfman and Dracula and the Mummy
Like
and Frankenstein?
growing yeah, I mean, growing up, I was more familiar with like Dracula and Frankenstein. Like, I didn't really watch much of like the other monsters. But like as an adult, I've tried to watch some of the other ones, like Lon Chaney Jr. and like the Mummy. But I mean, usually if I watch like a gothic horror, I usually will gravitate towards a Dracula or a Frankenstein movie. I guess those are the ones that I've had most exposure to.
Now I have not seen Cocaine Werewolf. I did see Cocaine Shark.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw that one. So, but still talk about Cocaine Werewolf because that's and I'm looking at the page for it, and I can definitely see that there was a very active cast there. You have
Hmm.
17. So that must have been a really fun shoot.
Hmm.
How long are the shoots now for Mark? Are they still really short, like 3 or 4 days?
Yeah, it's like usually 3, 4 days. I'm usually down there for like a long weekend, like usually Friday to Sunday, and then I'm back home.
Um, I was gonna say, in some of these movies has he stretched out the filming time because of the maybe because of the script or or the the content or what have you? Did has he to me I think personally I could be wrong, but my own thing is I think the longer a shoot goes, I think the more you get the more you get out of it.
I'm sorry, your audio is still like kind of cutting out a little bit. It was
Okay.
only partially catching what you were saying.
I like films that, with a long shoot time, a longer shoot time, because I think that, the film director, it helps the film director and the cast, because you want to get out there, you want to get, you want to have time to, to do these scenes that, bring these characters to life. I just feel like, when you go out there and you got 3 or 4 days to shoot, there's, it's like a lot of it's just one take. It's like, okay, we got that one, let's go next one. And it's like, wow, as an actor, I just feel like I could do that better. I like to do it better. I like to have a chance to do it better. But because of the small shoot time, often or not, you don't get that. And I just feel like, wow, it would help the whole production if you plan out, like we're gonna do a 5-day shoot, and then multiply that by 1. Instead of 5, go for 10. Have that option of doing it.
Yeah, I know with Mark's films, they're always pretty short, but I know on this last one, I feel like we had more time to rehearse because like a lot of the scenes, with he was having help with like setting up with shots and lighting and everything, so that actually gave us more time to go over our lines and to kind of get a feel for our characters. So even though it was still a very short period of time, I feel like as a cast, we were kind of able to interact more and to feed off of each other and to, rehearse our lines over and over again to, oh, let's try to do this differently, or let's get this fight, scene, because there's the one scene where Michael and Tim have a fight. They did rehearse that quite a bit.
Right. Yeah. That was a good scene. I like Michael. I had never seen him before. And I thought he did a great job.
And Michael's been around. He's been working with Mark for a while.
I thought he did really well. I thought all you guys did really well in Fear Force. Like I said, Jeff was really effective. I loved his face. He would smile and then he'd lose it like in a half a heartbeat. And man, it was just like it's unsettling. It's like that. You don't know exactly, is he on the side of the angels, or is he setting all these people up for for their demise? And you just don't know. And then he has a thing for Yoli's character, and I thought that was cool as well. It's like, okay, I can see, but then she's like, oh hell no.
Yeah, we loved the scenes where Jeff's character was creeping Yoli's character out, because we were all behind the camera trying not to be disruptive and laugh. We loved the scenes between those two.
Yeah, you know what? I think it goes to show how good Jeff was, and the fact that she truly was freaked out by it, and it's like, oof, I know this guy, but man, he's giving me the heebie-jeebies. Let's see. Let's see. I don't know if it's just me, but the audio seems to be going in and out, like sounding underwater.
Yeah, that's what I've been experiencing. I've been like trying to strain to hear what you're saying.
Okay, let me see if I can boost it up a little bit. Okay, how about that? Is that better?
Oh yes, that's better.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Stephen. Yes, Greta does sound good.
Thanks, Stephen.
Yeah. So where was Fear Forest shot? Was that Pennsylvania, or was that somewhere else?
Yes, it was Pennsylvania. So Ken either purchased or he's leasing this former private zoo. It closed down quite a while ago, and Ken is like revitalizing it. I know like the October season, like he actually had like a Halloween attraction there, and actually he didn't take all of it down. Like the scenes where we were like cleaning up and you saw like
Right.
decor, you saw Halloween decor, that was actually from the Halloween attraction that he had. And he has like a gift shop there. There's like a little ice cream stand there, and there's a room that you can rent, which we call the raccoon suite. The room is like full of raccoon decor. There's framed pictures, there's stickers. Like you walk into the bathroom, there's like raccoons on the shower curtain, because apparently like there used to be a lot of friendly raccoons that people used to feed. But when I was there, I didn't see any like actual raccoons. There just was like wild cats that Ken feeds. Yeah,
Oh,
so
okay.
that's quite interesting. So yeah, like when we're wandering through and you see cages, that used to be a small private zoo from like I don't know. I'm
Now,
not really sure when it closed down. Maybe within the past 20 years or so. That was my first time really being on the grounds, and I didn't really know too much about the history of it. But so it was a little little rundown history of that.
now, did you help feed the wild the cats? Because you are a well-known cat person.
I am a cat person. I did not help feed them. I think Ken was off feeding them, but there was a couple of times where you could hear them like crying and meowing, and it actually like Mark had to stop filming because like their cries were being picked up on the microphone. So Mark was like, "We gotta
Oh,
stop. We gotta wait for the cats to get moving."
they just wanted part of the action.
What's that?
They just want part of the action.
I think they just wanted food.
Oh,
I think they got used.
uh,
They're getting used to having Ken feed them.
now, okay, so we're just gonna talk a little bit. So close your ears if you don't want to. Just, we're gonna talk a little bit of spoilers. Just close your ears.
Pat, you're kind of like breaking up again. I'm just having a hard
Okay.
time hearing.
Um, I was gonna say, I was gonna tell people that we might be talking a little like spoilers here, so keep your ears closed. Was Serenity always supposed to was the script, or the Serenity or the last scene did it get added on afterwards?
That was in the script. That was always supposed to happen.
Because I really like the idea where they were going with the movie. I really like the idea that the animatronics, they're only going after bad people. I
Mm-hmm.
like that. I like that, and it'll work for the film. But the ending threw that whole it threw it completely off. And I was just like, I wonder if that was by intent, or was that in the script, or was that just added on at the improv for the end, to bump up the body count a little bit. Because I
Yeah,
like the
because like
story.
I mean, because I think that there would have been too many survivors, like because you had Julie and Michael's character who were good, but I feel like having too many survive would have been too much. You can't have too many survive, so you do have to have a body count.
Yeah, right, right. Uh, what's been your best? What movie have you that you've died in? Are you most proud of? It's a question to ask. What's been your favorite death scene of any of your characters?
Oh, favorite death scene. Hmm. Probably the ones where I don't get as bloody. I mean, I don't mind the fake blood, but it does, like to wash up later. So I'm trying to think of like bloodless ones that I've had. I mean, in Fear Forest, that one is I didn't get messy at all. So yeah,
There's people saying the sound was going down again.
yeah.
Now I can hear sort of feedback. Ah, it's not you. It's my Is the sound? Okay. Hold on 1 second here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to probably take my phone back because it's not. Yeah. Okay. All right. I have no idea why this is doing this. And now I can hear the feedback. Okay. Well, how's it sound? How's it sounding now?
So far, so good.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it seems like I put the sound up and then I have to go back and keep putting it back. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. The sound okay. I'm sorry about that. Now, so Cocaine Werewolf, or I'm gonna ask you this one, Greta, because what I mean, because a lot of the movies are, definitely they're a lot of fun. But how much energy do like, or what's the biggest difference for you as an actress from working on Mark films to doing, other directors' films? Because you work mostly with Mark. What's some of the differences that you notice between Mark's way of filming versus, like a new director? Is it pretty much the same, or a little bit different?
I mean, Mark as a director is like probably the fastest, most efficient that I've ever worked with. Because like I said, I mean, he pretty much will do a whole feature film in a weekend, and that's pretty unheard of. Like all the other films that I've ever worked with, they usually take over the course of months, sometimes even years. So his efficiency of just having it down, I've never worked with anyone else that's like that.
Um, do you audition a lot now? Do you find yourself auditioning more? Because it does seem like you are working more than you have. I mean, I look at your the project that you've done, and it seems to me you're much more busier. Are you looking for more roles?
Well, I haven't actually. I'm not busier. I mean, honestly, since the pandemic, I'm probably averaging about 2 movies a year, and that was prior to that. Like I was like about 10 years ago, I was probably going out of town for something almost every weekend. So it actually has like it's kind of dwindled since the pandemic. I mean, some things are kind of slowly picking up again. Um, but yeah, I mean, this year I haven't really seen a lot of auditions. Sometimes, the auditions are, like a 2 hour away, and sometimes I'll submit like a video audition if I'm busy or something. And I tend to find that usually if I submit uh, auditions or video auditions, my chances of being cast are usually lower versus, actually going in person. But yeah, I haven't been as busy. I mean, I do have a couple of projects coming up, but uh, yeah, I mean, like this year, like I said, I haven't actually acted since 4 nights, and that was last November. So
Okay. Well, that's not a bad turnaround, was it?
yeah.
Now I noticed that this year, Mark and Jeff, they led a bunch of the Polonia pals to Growth Fest down in Pittsburgh. Did you go to that by chance? Were you one of the actors that went?
No, I mean, I saw that they went. That was in Pittsburgh. That's quite a bit of a drive for me, and um, I didn't go. It looked really fun though. I wish I could have
Yeah.
gone, but maybe next
That
year.
was Yes. They had their best they had their best show this year. With having Mark and your supporting cast members. Um, do you like going to conventions? Are conventions something that you enjoy yourself going to as being a guest?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of stick with kind of closer ones because, like, again, you know, I don't like to drive. I mean, if I can carpool, that's fine. But if it's like beyond 2 hours, I'm kind of reluctant. I know there's some decent ones in Jersey. I think there's like Chiller. I've never gone to that, but actually next weekend I'm going to a convention. I was just at one a couple of weekends ago, so yeah, I do like to go. Usually there's the one that I went to a few weeks ago. Like I knew, some of the vendors up there. There was Mad Angel Films was up there, and there was
Yes.
another podcaster. Like I'll go to his table and we'll chat for like a half hour just about horror films, because I'm not just an actor, I'm also a horror nerd myself, so I can talk shop about horror movies. So I don't know if you saw the pictures, but I got to meet Bill Moseley a couple weekends ago, and the writer and actor from Repo, the genetic opera. I got to meet
Yes, I saw that.
the
Terrence.
great Robert. Had my picture taken with him. So yeah, I do enjoy going to conventions.
I fanboyed out when I saw you and Terrence, because that is a phenomenal film. Love that movie so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
As
the
far
funny
as I
thing is,
still know,
I'm not
as
a
far as I
huge
know,
musical fan, but I did enjoy Repo, so that was pretty cool. I got to meet him.
I don't think there's ever been before or since. I don't think there's ever been what makes Repo stand out is it's not a musical, it's an opera. And the difference between a musical and opera is in opera they never talk. Everything they say is sung. I was blown away when I heard that. I really wasn't paying attention to that. I just thought they were just doing their songs, and then I heard, well, that's the difference, is that in an opera, everything is sung, whereas a musical, they have speaking interludes, and I'm like, wow, that makes the movie even more impressive than what it already was. Man, I wish they'd come back and do another one. That was Darren Lynn Bousman, if I'm not mistaken, who directed that.
Oh, Terrence.
Terrence wrote it, and I think he wrote the music, and James Lynn Bousman, who did the Saw movies, he directed it. I love that movie. So what have been some of your favorite films that you've seen recently that have that you would recommend as a horror fan?
I mean, it kind of depends, because with the horror genre, there's so many subgenres. I'm surrounded by so many people who don't like horror, and it's like, I try to think of like maybe like ways for people to start, like I don't know, like an intro to horror, like a horror comedy or something like that. But I mean, I tend to like supernatural horror films, or like gothic horror films, like the atmospheric. uh I love like the old, like the Hammer films, or like the Euro
Right.
horror. You have like a manor or like a castle, and there's like the mist and fog and like a horse-drawn carriage. Like I love that type of atmosphere. But yeah, I mean, it kind of depends, because there's so many, and I feel like for the people who don't like the horror genre, I think they tend to think of the more extreme subgenres, like the torture porn, or like the body horror, like the Human Centipede, and it's like, you don't have to watch the more extreme ones, because there's so many other types of horror.
Hi Lily, how are you? Welcome in. We are speaking with actress Greta Volkova. So glad you're here. It's funny. It's like, let me ask you this then. I'm now that you mentioned about the horror aspect, the supernatural aspect. What did you think of an Amityville Exorcism? What did you think of that movie?
So I just want to make sure that I'm thinking of the right one. Is that with Marie, who's possessed?
Yeah.
Her performance was amazing when she was actually possessed, and like the voice and everything. The performances, Jeff as the priest, like that was definitely a really good film.
Yeah, I was so impressed with that movie. That's what I was saying earlier, that it had it had a sad ending. Now, I've never said that of any Mark movie, it's a sad ending, but that was like a 1970s ending. It was like, wow, I really dug it. I thought it was really I was down with that. Let's see. Glum Reaper says great horror comedy starting recommendation by me would be Zombievers. Love that one. I've heard of that one. Definitely heard of that one. Did you see Presence?
Presence?
Yeah.
No.
Man. What movie have you watched where you go in there expecting high, you're expecting it to be really high, and then it just trips over itself?
I watched Infinity Pool, I guess, kind of expecting. I don't know if that's an A24, but I kind of thought it was like going to be at that level, and I had issues with it.
Yeah, I for me it was Presence. I got, I heard about it a little bit. And I know it had Lucy Liu in it, and I was totally like, oh, okay, I want to go see it because she's in it. And then I got there and I watched it, and Steven Soderbergh directed it, and so and David Cope, who one of the top 5 screenwriters ever, he wrote it, and it was just tailor made for a hit. I mean, boy, I could not have been more disappointed in a movie recently than Present. I was just so bummed out. I was so bummed out. It was just not what I expected. But Amityville Exorcism, I was so pleasantly surprised, and I was digging it. What do you think about The Conjuring? It's finally ending. It's wrapping up. Were you a big fan of The Conjuring? That's the whole thing in Amityville is in New York. So how far away from Amityville are you?
Maybe 3 hours. I'm assuming because it's kind of, I think it's like downstate, isn't it? Kind of near like New York City, Staten Island ish, I think.
I think that is actually Zombiever. I think Zombiever is on Tubi, so I have to go check that out. That's one thing I have to sit there and say that Tubi has really opened the door to seeing a lot of new. I've seen a lot of new movies. That's how I was able to see all the Mark's new movies. They're on Tubi, and I was like, this is amazing. Because you type in his name, and a lot of the movies pop up. So if you want to catch up with Mark and also one of his leading ladies, and Greta, that's where I would recommend you guys go for sure. And you guys still have the best poster. Still comes that Wild Ride ever put out. It's still one of your movies, Bigfoot versus Zombie. That poster is fucking amazing. Still one of my very favorite posters covers I've ever seen of any movie.
I would love to have a poster of that. The only Polonia poster I have is the Four Nights, and that was I saw people were getting them from the Indiegogo campaign, so I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get myself a copy." And it was folded, but it's like I can't really complain. It was a free, it was a free poster that came with the DVD. So
now, do you take trinkets off every set that you're in?
No,
the small thing.
No, because especially these type of these movies that I do, it's like it's already a micro budget. It's like we need these props for stuff, and it's like I'm literally stealing from someone who from the director or something.
I was just thinking, you think Kid would miss out if he took one of his raccoons with him, or
what's that?
Do you think Ken would be upset if one of the raccoons disappeared? Or one of the live raccoons disappeared?
Oh, you mean like from the raccoon suite? Like he probably wouldn't care if you stole an actual raccoon, but I remember when I did Tales of Dracula. I think Joe was trying to get rid of some of the props. I think he tried to give me this giant cast iron candelabra, like a standing candelabra. I'm like, Joe, I am in a tiny place. Where am I going to put this giant candelabra? I mean, it was cool, but like, I don't have room for something like that. So like, I've actually had the opposite where, I've had a director trying to give some of the props away.
Okay. That would be, yeah, I would, because that's always interesting to see if, 'cause I've heard people say, I'm just trying to get something cool from the set. To me, I would just, I would, according to, like you said, the budget, of course, but I would think that at the end of the set, as long as I wasn't, I wouldn't recommend asking if you're an extra or whatnot, but if you're, had a speaking role, and were part of the project, I would definitely ask for a trinket if I could. Yeah, do you mind if I take the Necrocom, with me?
I mean, I think like, I mean, some of like the things that are like made specifically for you, like if you had like an actual, like a molding of your teeth, like to, for fangs or something, I feel like, well, that should be yours because that was specifically meant for you. Or like, I've been given special effects contacts. It's like, I'm not giving these back. I mean, like, why would you want used contacts anyways? So it's like, I'm keeping these. But it's like things like that. But no, I wouldn't take from a set unless I was like on like a union one that's oh, we have all these like props, because you hear like on union things if there's like some people walk off with like prop jewelry or something, if it was like a Lord of the Rings, like a replica ring or something like that, you hear that people walk off. So it's like something like that, but not for these like micro budget things.
No, I want to go back I definitely want to go back to the supernatural. What supernatural films have you seen within the last couple of years that have actually spooked you?
That have what? Sorry, you're kind of like you're breaking up again.
What movies have you seen that have actually spooked you? Like supernatural horror wise.
I think like aliens kind of like with the concept of aliens, like I don't know, like the demons don't really creep me out, but the ones that have a more sci-fi thing to it, like Annihilation, actually really creeped me out. Like there was another alien possession one, was like the Fifth Contact. It was like Mila Jovovich, and like she plays this counselor
Oh,
for people who've been abducted. That movie creeped me out when they showed like footage of people being possessed, and like they're levitating, they're speaking this like guttural like Sumerian language. Like the first watch, I was like, no, like this is really creepy. I don't know if you recall that movie.
I remember hearing about it. I just have never seen it.
They,
Oh,
they
that's
try to play it
interesting.
off as like based on a real story. I have no idea like how accurate it was. But I think it takes place like Anchorage, and like there were allegedly accounts of abductions, and like people were like going to therapy for that, and like when they were in a trance, like they were like levitating and like were being possessed by the aliens, and they were speaking like ancient Sumerian, and it was creepy. And it
I
was,
like those
again,
kind of movies.
it was like a sci-fi horror.
Yeah, you don't get to see that much like that, but it does that, but of course now they brought Alien in here. They finally got Alien on Earth, and after all these years, and it's interesting to see what they're doing with it. From what I'm hearing, it's really quite good. It's really,
Oh,
very
the show.
entertaining.
I think I have that on my watch list, but I have no idea when I'm gonna get around. I have such a long watch list. I don't know when I'll get to that.
Oh my gosh. Uh, so when you see a movie like this, and do you ever you ever jot down notes? Not necessarily taping the movie, but ideas or themes of the movie. I mean, do you ever write them down and maybe do a little writing on your own?
Oh, like to create to write down like for like a my own movie, or like
Yeah.
ideas for a movie.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about making your own film, directing your own film?
Um, Not really. Like I remember I did give an idea to a director friend of mine, and he did this short for me. Had an idea for like Russian sleeper spies, and it was funny because like shortly after he filmed this for me, the TV show Americans came out, which was about Russian sleeper spies.
Right. Right.
Um, but yeah, but as he was filming it, yeah, I saw all the work that goes behind with filming. It's like, wow, that's a lot of work. Not sure, you know, to wear, I'm not sure if I'm cut out to wear multiple hats.
Um, so, so as horror wise goes, what roles would you like to try to play moving forward? I mean, what would challenge you, in a horror setting? What would you like to be challenged by? I mean, would you like to do an alien science fiction horror film, or I mean, what are some of the acting goals that you still have that you want to achieve? Parts that you have.
I mean, yeah, I mean, Alien One seemed interesting. I mean, I was in Feeders 3, but like my character didn't have a lot of interactions, with the aliens. So it would be cool to maybe be in one that had more. And I don't know if I've really been in one with demons, but I mean, I wouldn't mind, being in a demon possession movie. Um, yeah, well, maybe like aliens, maybe some demons.
Now, do you have anything in the pipeline with Mark coming up? I mean, do you hear from him? Do you think he?
I mean, he'll drop me a line if he has something in mind for me. I know Jeff actually had recently reached out to be an extra for something, but that was that was like the one day I was at a convention, so I wasn't able to do that. But yeah, I am in contact. I chat with Tim sometimes, so yeah, I'm still in contact with them.
Yeah, Jeff is really he's really busy. I mean, he's got his own thing going on. He's still working with Mark. I mean, it seems like a lot of the productions now are in conjunction with, like you mentioned earlier about Mark collaborating with other creators. And it seems like that's what he's doing with Jeff, and they're making some decent films, I think. All right, this is driving me nuts. I'm gonna have to take this down. I'm not gonna go ahead and pound at everybody's ears any more than that, because now I can actually hear mine as well. So tell us, I guess the last question I'll have for you is, what do you got going on for the rest of your year? I mean, you mentioned earlier you had a couple of projects coming down. Will you be filming those in 2025, or will those be next year?
Like, as far as when are they coming out?
Yeah, what are your have you started filming the next two projects you mentioned? The other projects you
Yeah,
mentioned,
so just like the next month or two, I have a couple of local ones. I am not sure like when they will come out, because the one, this will be my first time working with him as a director, and I'm not sure how long that would take. And then the other one, I have worked with this director before. Maybe it will come out sometime later next year. Then there's also Mark of the Werewolf. We keep hearing from the director that it might be coming out this year. I'm not entirely certain when that's going to premiere, but I had worked on that like a few years ago. So, we're
okay,
hoping.
yeah, you're right. Isn't that something? I don't think people realize sometimes how that works. Where a movie will I think they got an idea what it was like when they were talking about the War of the World. Ice Cube did that War of the Worlds, and he found out that movie was actually made 5 years ago.
Oh, it was they made it 5 years ago.
Yeah,
I've only heard that. I've only heard like bad things about that. I've been seeing reviews on YouTube, like how bad it is, but I didn't realize that they filmed it 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it felt really hey, how you doing, Matthew? Doing good, sir. Doing good. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. I'm glad all you guys are here. But my sound is on the fritz, so I'm just gonna have to go ahead and end this a little bit shorter than usual, but because I want to get this fixed. But I want to thank our guest Greta for coming in. One thing too, I was going to ask you. I guess this will be my last question. Is you were doing co-hosting with Steven on the House of Horrors on the podcast. Is that something you're looking to do again? Are you looking for? Because I don't know. I don't know where the House of Horrors is at as far as continuity goes. But did you enjoy co-hosting, doing podcasts? Is that something you enjoy doing? And would you like to do it more full time?
If I'm available and if he invites me, I can hop on and help with interview questions and whatnot.
Yeah, you guys are really cute together. You guys really work well together. So I was sitting there going, like, well, yeah, you guys gotta see what it would take to get her on to come in every week. Uh, um, yeah, and he says always welcome. Yeah, yeah. Hope.
Thanks,
What?
Steven.
I guess
Yeah, so now we
I'll ask
talked about
Steven.
maybe like having different themed ones, like maybe having like a full moon. Talk about like different
Yes.
like different studios, and we'll have a full moon discussion or something like that.
I would like that. I'd like to see you guys tackle that. That would be great.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, trauma would be interesting too. If you guys already did that, I have to go back and rewatch that because I don't.
What's funny is since we've did that podcast, I did sit and rewatch some of the Toxic Avenger because like I know the new one's coming out soon. And I was rewatching some of the class in Nukem High. But it's like, yeah, I mean, I had seen them even before we did the podcast, but it's funny. It's like now afterwards, after the fact, I'm going back and rewatching some of them.
Which okay, which trauma film do you think held up with that?
Which one held up?
Yeah. Which one do you think is still?
I mean, like pretty much all of them. If you watch them, there's gonna be like problematic stuff. Because like things from the '80s and even the '90s. Oof. I mean, most of those movies, they do have like some like an environmental concern, like like with pollution and whatnot. Like even like poultry guys, they had concerns about with the food industry. So like I think with all of them, they have some underlying, like a social cause. But I mean, some of the humor, some of the jokes, some of it hasn't aged well. I mean, even in the first Toxic Avenger, you have the bad guys. They're driving around, specifically trying to run people over, and they're like just spewing all these like slurs and everything. And I was like, oh my god, it's just
right.
It's kind of like shocking to to hear them use the language. But so I mean, pretty much all of those movies, there's going to be jokes and language used that have not aged well. So I'm not even sure if I could think of a trauma that sort of aged well, because like probably even poultry guys, there's probably offensive things. Like I know Steve and I had briefly talked about it. There was a Muslim character, and that's like today, that's like that did not age well with some things that happened with this character. It's like So yeah, I'm not really sure if any of them have aged well, even though some of the underlying concerns about pollution and like other, causes. But
let's see. Our friend Matthew just said that he's got some good news. He's getting married next month, and his fiance is and they're gonna be having a baby pretty soon. Well, make sure your baby loves pork. That's for sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if someone compared Polonia films to Trauma, is that a fair comparison, or do you feel like or not?
I mean, I feel like with Trauma, there is an underlying social cause, but I feel like a lot of the humor is totally like shock value. Whereas with Mark's trying to tell a story with a very limited budget. It's like a creature feature or whatever. So I feel like Trauma is more social commentary with a lot of like shock, like with a lot of shock value. Whereas Mark's just trying to entertain with a story. So like I feel like, I mean, they're Trauma's micro budget. Mark is very micro budget, but I feel like the storytellings are a little bit different.
Right. Oh god, man, I can hear that noise. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up for this. This is crazy, driving me crazy now. But I want to thank you, Greta, for coming out and hanging out with us. And I look forward to seeing your new projects come down the line. Thanks again for doing a great job in Fear Forest. That was a very, very good movie. And
well, thank you, Patrick.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the hell of it. And again, the recent releases that Mark has done have really been really strong, and I'm looking forward to seeing that continue. And to the chat, I want to thank you guys for coming out and hanging out with us. Next Thursday, we'll we'll be talking with Mel Heflin. He'll be here on next Thursday. Then we'll be talking to Michael Cassie on the 9th. We'll talk about you want a good horror film, No Tears in Hell. And then on the 23rd, we'll be having our first professional athlete and pro wrestler and deathmatch legend. Do you know about deathmatch wrestling?
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard of deathmatch wrestling?
I don't think so. Is that?
I didn't either until like 5 months ago. That's some insanity. That's some serious insanity. But we're going to be getting one of the living legends of deathmatch, and Mickey Knuckles, who has released a new book, and she'll be coming over on joining us on the 23rd of September, and then we're doing a watch along on September 13th. If you guys want to join me, I'll be here at 9 o'clock, and we will be watching and discussing The Hole, featuring Haley Bennett. And that will be that's coming up on the channel. But thank everybody in the chat for coming in and for the support, Stephen and Matthew, and Lily, and Glum, and Hobbs. I know you're out there listening, so Hobbs, midnight hour on tonight. And who else did I say? I need to go out there and say hi now. And Cheryl, thank you for coming out and hanging out with us, Cheryl. Now she's plotting her way down to Wisconsin. Now that I gave her the idea, I think that will work. Her band is named Laverne. Her name is Shirley. So that would be very entertaining to see that happen. But that's it for us. Thanks for watching, and we will talk to you soon. Just stay right where you're at for 1 second. And to everybody else, thanks again. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.